bring in Kurt Warner, joining us on loan from the NFL Network. What's the strangest word you've used for an audible at the line of scrimmage? You know, we've this whole thing with Peyton Manning with Omaha. Have you ever had like a fun one of your kids' names, your wife, or just a strange reference?
Man, that's a good question. Usually, the words that we use are mascots for different teams. Whether it was Iowa for Hawkeyes or Panthers where I went to school. That's usually where they come from. Every once in a while you do have a city. A lot of times what you see is that you group, whether it's a group of plays or if it's run plays. We've used cars before, Chevy, Dodge, those kinds of things. So usually you kind of group them with different things based on the kind of play that you have. But I actually did have a system that I used Omaha, just like Peyton did, probably stemmed from the same places, had some of the same coaches. So I used Omaha a few times as well.
Okay, what did Omaha mean for you?
For us, Omaha was changing the count to like a quick count. Okay. So if we had called it on 2 in the huddle and you wanted to go up and change a play at the line of scrimmage, play clock's running down. Hey, Omaha, set up the ball snap. So it was, to speed that count up. It's probably how Peyton uses it, but knowing Peyton, he's probably got a bunch of dummy calls too, so you can't figure out, what Omaha means and when he's actually going to snap it on a quick count.
But when you go to the line of scrimmage and you're going to throw out Chevy, or how would you call the play where you're going to use one of those code words and you would audible so your team would know it was a pass, we're going to change it to a run?
Well, a lot of times if we would call 2 plays in the huddle. But if you were going to do something like Peyton is doing, or where you just change everything at the line of scrimmage, those code words would mean everything. So if you called Chevy, that would mean a certain pass protection for the offensive line. That would mean a certain route for the receivers. So you could go up and you have a play called in the huddle, and then if you wanted to do something different, you could easily just go Chevy, or you could call Chevy for the guys on the outside, and then you might have to call a pass protection for the offensive lineman, which was probably one word as well. You probably just use one word to signify, hey, this is what we're going to do. So usually just a couple words at the line of scrimmage could change an entire play.
He's Kurt Warner from the NFL Network joining us from the streets of New York, Dan Patrick Show. Not that you're on the streets. I mean, you're just there walking around. Right? Has anybody noticed you as you're walking the streets of New York?
The great thing about New York is that there's usually so many people, so you see people kind of take a double look, but by the time they realize it, you're well past them and you're in a mob of people, and so it's kind of a great place to be.
You look at these quarterbacks here with Peyton Manning and even the younger guys with Peyton and Brady, Kaepernick and Russell Wilson. The guy who would be the toughest to prepare for as a former quarterback, looking at these guys, would be who?
Wow. I think the natural response is, the guys that can run, the guys that can beat you in a couple different ways. Just because there's just an X factor. You can't really prepare for what's going to happen on each play in regards to keeping a guy inside the pocket, telling your defensive lineman, hey, go sack the quarterback, but just make sure you do it on the outside of your guy, because otherwise, this guy's going to be able to, to break up, contain, and make a big play. I think that's the hardest thing, because you change the way you play the game. But, to prepare for a Tom Brady or Peyton Manning isn't easy either, because you can't just go into the game and go, okay, we're going to stand there and try to play really good coverage. Well, if they know the coverage that you're in, more times than not, they're going to pick you apart. So you've got to change your coverages. You got to try to hold it till the last second. And when you do that, you're usually out of position, which can possibly give up big plays too. So I think there's danger with playing all these guys, but I guess I would probably, say I'd rather prepare for the guy where I know he's going to be in the pocket. We can get after him in the pocket and just try to play really good on the back end.
Take these Final Four quarterbacks and create the perfect quarterback. So what do you take from Brady, Manning, Kaepernick, Russell Wilson, and you create just one great quarterback?
Wow, that's a good question. Obviously from Peyton, you take his ability to see things before the snap.
So we'll take his mind.
Yeah, you take his mind. I think you take Tom Brady, how he handles pressure. This guy at big moments has been better than anybody throughout the course of his career, in the playoffs. So I think you take that aspect of him. Wow. I would take Russell Wilson's, ability to escape in the pocket, his ability to escape and keep vision down the field. And then I'd probably take the physical tools of Colin Kaepernick, his ability to run and his stride. And, he's just special in that regard. And that'd be a pretty good quarterback right there.
Matt Leinart said that it was you, not Ken Whisenhunt, who ran the Cardinals, that Whisenhunt got more credit when you guys went to the Super Bowl, that Cardinals offense. Your thoughts on that comment?
Well, I mean, I had a big part in what we did offensively, no question about it. But so did Ken and some other guys. We designed the offense together. And, there's no question I was a big part of bringing in plays that I liked and things that I felt we could do well. But still, there's a lot more to being a head coach than just, putting in the offense. And, he had a hand in that, in designing that, but also just managing the situation that we were in. And you got to remember, this is a team that had never, even thought about success, really. This is a team that had struggled for a long time. He came in with a mindset, with an approach, a consistency to how he did his job. And, those are the reasons that you're able to succeed and move forward. And, I take credit in having a hand in what we did offensively and in designing it to meet my skills. But like I said, there's so much more to being a head coach of a football team and taking a team to a Super Bowl than just that.
You created some headlines a year ago when you were on the show where you said, as far as letting your kids play, if they really wanted to play, and you would have that sort of dilemma to say, all right, I made my living doing this, and hopefully they don't have to try to make a living doing this. And now I look at this show, Friday Night Tykes. I don't know if you've seen this, 8 and 9-year-olds, and they're in San Antonio. Just follow them around. And I don't know where we're headed with football, with kids, with concussion issues. I don't know if the game is going to be different for them or coached differently, but your thoughts a year removed from the comments that you made on this show.
My thoughts are the same as a parent, is that, there's still concerns, that when you put your kids out there and they're playing football and understanding not only the short-term issues, but also the long-term issues. It's definitely something that I think about when they go out on the football field. And I think that's the one thing you can say is you want to be able to put your kids out there where you never second-guess it and you never wonder, are they going to be okay from a health standpoint? And I can't say that I do that, having played the game as long as I did and understanding the big picture. But I still love the game. And, I'm taking part in a number of different things that are trying to make it safer and protect people more because I think there's so many benefits to our game. But again, I still wrestle with both sides of it. As a parent, I want to make sure that my kids are healthy, regardless of what they're doing. I want to make sure they're healthy. And it has to be a concern, I think, as a parent, so you make sure you do everything possible when you do put them out there. And I'll tell you again, my boys play. They love to play. They want to make a living doing it. And so my goal as a parent is to support that as long as they are staying healthy and then doing whatever I can to make sure they have all the supportive protection and what have you that they can.
Hey, good to visit with you. What are you doing on the streets of New York, by the way?
I'm actually going to go jogging right now. Go get a little exercise in.
Really? You running? I haven't seen you run even when you played.
I didn't run when I played. That wasn't my job. Now I got to stay in shape somehow.
All right. West Side Highway is great to run, or Central Park, just to let you know.
Those are great places, but I'm actually right downtown in Times Square, so I'm going to figure something out.
No, you run from Times Square. You don't run to Times Square.
Okay, I'll run in the other direction. Sounds good.
Thank you, Kurt. That's Kurt Warner, NFL Network analyst.